All right, I'm putting some torch onto the fire. I use the 1000 watt benzomatic torches. They do a good job of getting the fuel involved. From this point, I've closed the door, and the fans and the algorithm in my control system will take over. The goal being keep it under 20% for the startup and ever after. I'll bring a camera in here for the display because it's hard to read on this wide view camera. So I'll have one camera for the fire and one camera for the display, and I'll try to keep them synced in. There we go. We got our camera on our display putting out 4% opacity. Our wavelength of light is 413. We're 1 minute in. Yeah, the stove is 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Startup is when you're going to put out the most opacity or the highest amount of smoke. You have 20 minutes or so, according to the law, to get it under 20%. But we do our best to start up with very low smoke. All right, we're just getting started here. I'll come back in a few minutes. We are now at 147 degrees, and the fans have given us a nice looking yellow fire. Good luminous flames. You know, if I had a fire like this, I think I'd be relaxing by it. All right, I'll bring in a chart. This is our stove temperature measured at the top plate of the stove. We got to about 400 degrees, 400 Fahrenheit. I'm going to put a little bit of wood on the fire because I plan to burn 8 pounds of wood, and I still had some wood in the bucket. Our stove is getting near operating temperature. Right, I'll trade out that chart for a rate of rise chart. This is how I keep track of the rate of rise, which I don't want the control system to put to take the stove up too high. So I check it by looking at my rate of ROR chart. 20 degrees per minute, 20 degrees F per minute seems to be about right. A well-controlled fire. We got there in about 22 minutes, and we are at 16 minutes right now. So things are going to take off here pretty quick here. Let's see if I can do this on the fly. I've put in my opacity chart. So this is what the octa-ring calculates out and beams to the computer here. Takes me a few minutes to graph it out, and we have pretty much, we really didn't go over 20% until we have one event at about 10 minutes. That's when I put the wood in, I think. But other than that, we were down around 5 or 10% most of the day. You can see right now the display is 6.91. So the control system is keeping the wood burning and keeping the smoke level low. This is what we're after. brought in the color shift and the opacity chart. These two data points plot together well. The color shift is nice because when we have no opacity, we still get a little bit of data from the color shift. We have a color shift of around 10 at later in the test, where we have opacity of essentially 0. And the color shift is telling us that yes, we do still have emissions, they're just not measured in opacity. So it's a good data point to have. It works well with the opacity, it plots well with the opacity, and I like to keep it aligned with the data. So I'm going to come back a little later. We are now 31 minutes into this test, and the flames look great. The fan system is settling into a new mode, and the flames look wonderful. I just wouldn't change anything at this point. We have opacity of 1, beautiful flames, and I'm not going to add any more wood to the fire today. Just thought I'd update you. We're getting near our peak temperature. The wood stove is going to max out here in a few minutes. $395. It providing good warm air. It was a cool morning today, August 14th. So if we could have flames like that in our wood stove day and night, that would be nice on those cold days. Well, the wood stove has kept heating up here. It's now around 465, 462, and most of the fuel has been consumed. We still do have flames. I'm not planning on putting any more wood on this fire. We got very low emissions. At less than 1.32, that's almost nothing. 463 according to the data acquisition system, with a color shift. Now we have 413. We seem to have good airflow. We seem to have good flames. Very light airflow coming through. That's my status check for this moment. Now the control system is designed to keep your coals glowing nicely and keep the stove temperature up during the tail. The idea being that you want to be able to come back at any time and put wood on and not start a smoldering smoking process. You keep the wood stove warm, and you can stretch out the tail, the amount of time available for you to put new wood, new fuel on the fire.